Hey everybody, welcome to That's Good Stuff, the show where we review pop culture's newest releases. And this week that was Mickey 17 from Warner Brothers. So I'm going to hand this off to Thomas to explain the plot to you guys, and you guys can jump in and help him if you need to. So go ahead, Thomas.
All right. So Trump 17. Mickey 17 starts off with Mickey and our boy Steven Yun. I forgot his name. What is his name?
I have no idea.
It's
It's like
I'll look it
like
up.
T something.
it's like
Something like
Tuco
says
or
it a
something
lot.
like that. Yeah.
So it's
Like
with a T.
ITO is, I don't know. I'll look it up. Keep going.
So him and his friend are in deep debt because apparently they bet wrong on the food market that macarons would be better than burgers.
Timo.
Timo.
Emo.
So they sign up for expedition heading into space, saying, "Hey, guess what? I don't have any qualifications to go into space, so I'll just be an expendable," which means that they basically perfected human cloning, and basically, if any like job needs to be done or experiment needs to be run, he dies for the good of the mission. Um, Along the way, he meets this girl in the cafeteria, and I forgot her name.
Asha?
Sure, that I just remember her
think
as the
so.
one the lady they shoehorned into the last Star Wars movie for some reason. Um,
Oh, is that her?
Where is
that
she?
is, yeah, I forgot
Oh.
her name.
They did not put her very far up on the IMDb list. That's for sure.
Naomi Aki.
Her, yes, who is a security and a firefighter and a police officer and an army ranger and I don't know what else. It was
And
a
they love
weird,
her.
yes, and they become creepy lovers together. Throughout the mission, Mickey dies several times, 16 times to be specific. They land. Oh, Joe just dips out. They land on this planet, and they also, when they land, they actually have to kill Mickey a few times because of they're running environmental experiments and trying to get used to the atmosphere. So they basically run all these tests to get all the viruses. What do you call it? To get immunities
The
for somebody.
vaccine?
Vaccines. Thank you. And then uh, they finally are able to go out and they discover these little creepers. Did they call them creepers?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ruffalo call them creepers.
creepers. And oh, I forgot to mention Ruffalo. So Ruffalo is this disgraced politician that lost an election that is heading up two elections. Sorry, disgraced politician that is leading up this expedition for some reason. And basically he has like a cult following inside of the crew, which everything's a volunteer basis for this expedition too. So I'm not sure why they're complaining about having this guy. I'm like, just don't go. Go on another one. Um, anyway, they find these creepers and they're kind of freaked out by them because like I don't want to share a planet with any of these creatures. But when Mickey takes a bad fall, he is rescued by these creatures and basically sent on his way because the ship thinks he's dead, and Mickey's able to make his way back, and only to discover that they have already replaced him with another clone who is very different from Mickey 17 because it's kind of implied that each time he goes through the printer that he's a little different, not too much different, but slightly altered. And Mickey 18, which is another clone, is very aggressive and not at all passive like 17 is. And basically they try to kill each other. Mickey 18 kind of gets the upper hand, but then they discover that Timo, is it Timo, right?
Mhm.
Is dealing drugs and is basically becoming like this other side, like underlord of the ship. But they also discover that the loan shark sent somebody on the expedition. It's in like 4 years, by the way, is how long it takes to get to this planet. They sent somebody on the expedition to kill them unless they uh, do video evidence of one of them dying,
Yeah,
but that's
chop them up.
kind of later on, so we don't know that quite yet. In the meantime, the two Mickeys are trying to fight it out because there's this other law that was enacted on Earth that you cannot have duplicates at the same time. And so they say that if there's a duplicate, they have to be caught and killed so the duplicate and the prime no longer exist. That's a sin against mankind and God, apparently.
Well, I did like that they gave a little backstory of this like kind of psychopath who cloned himself, but they didn't realize it, committed murders, but used his other clone as the basically what's the word?
The alibi.
Alibi.
Yeah.
There you go. So he was, but then there ended up being a third one where he killed them. So they're like, who do we charge? Do we charge the guy that killed him? We charge the first one. Do we charge Prime, number 2, or number 3? So it was an interesting backstory into what started the law of no multiples. But
And so this is going on, and the two Mickeys kind of get split up. So Mickey 18 and what is her name? Nasha. They go do some sexy times up in Mickey's room, and Mickey 17 is jealous, but he gets he gets sidetracked by another crewmate named Kai, who also tries to put on the moves to 17. And I was telling Michael and Jared and Jonah, Mickey 17's an idiot to want to go back to that when he has Kai, who is Michael. What was Yeah.
She's gorgeous.
She's
I thought
attractive as well.
Yeah. I also thought they did a good job of like explaining why he's so in love with her, because she was there for him every
a little later on. At this point in time, we don't quite understand.
Yeah, this time he's an idiot.
Yeah.
But later on.
So that is going on, but Mickey 17 kind of wiggles his way out, literally, and goes to his room where he finds that 18 and the girl are kind of getting it on, but kind of waiting for him. And it gets really awkward when they're trying to like have this weird polyamorous sex thing, but it gets interrupted by Kai, who walks in, and she's like, "Oh no, this can't happen." So
they're also high on drugs.
Yes, they're also.
It's also weird that she just walked in on a couple's room. I was like,
well, he did. It was more cracked whenever you.
Yes.
Even still, I wouldn't just be like, "Hey, tea."
But that was weird that the door was cracked already, and then he left it cracked. I'm just like, why? So Yasha is help
Nasha.
me. Nasha in.
Think about it in his accent. Nasha.
Nasha chases Kai down to the stairs and says, "Hey, you can't turn Mickey in because I love him, but I want both of them." And then Kai goes like, "Well, you can have 18 and I'll have 17." And she's like, "No, I want both." So while this is going on, 18 and 17 are kind of having a talk because, I forgot about the dinner scene. So before all this, Mickey 17, that's why he got distracted, or that's why he got separated. Mark Ruffalo's character invited 17 up for dinner because there's a lottery of someone winning a dinner with the president or whatever he's called. And so you get to eat better because food is heavily monitored, and you only get 200 calories a day. It's that's I don't know why he was working out. Yeah. And so he goes up there, and while they're having dinner, they also decide to perform experiments on Mickey 17. So he almost dies while they're just he's having dinner, which honestly to me was probably one of the funnier parts, was because of Mickey 17's reactions. He's like, ah. There was also one ball which it looked like Pattinson. So yeah, I'm just like, dang, that looked like that hurt.
On the cart and falls backwards.
Yeah. So while that was happening, 17 finally made his way back, and 18 was asking 17, "Hey, how was dinner?" He's like, "Oh, he tried to kill us." 17 basically, or 18 basically loses it grabs Nosh's gun. He's like, I'm going to go kill him. And so and there's also another good fall, by the way, with
That's what I
Mickey
was laughing a
17
minute
coming
ago.
down the stairs. And he was just like, what? When Mickey 17 was outside while they presumed him dead, the science team had also grabbed a rock and basically shuttled it. I keep saying basically. They
sponged it
shuttled
up.
it. Yeah. They shuttled it back into the ship to like cut it open. It's like, oh, look, it's a beautiful rock. We're going to scratch our names on this. Turns out there were 2 creepers inside. So during this political rally, a creeper comes out, but Mickey 18 tries to shoot the president, nicks him in the face, and then it's discovered that there are 2 Mickeys. Now they kill one of the creepers and capture the other, and they have this weird like tribunal where when they killed the one creeper, this big mama creeper let out this like rallying cry for all the creepers on the planet to come like circle the ship, and like they're gonna kill everybody because they can go through rock and steel, and it wasn't explained very well. But they told the Mickeys that you need to go outside. We're gonna strap these bombs to you, and then when you go out there, you're gonna get close to the mama. I want you to kill, or I want you to chop off 100 tails each, and whoever gets the tails first can survive. Because the wife of the president is obsessed with sauces. I don't know, but she like cuts off the tail of one of the creepers and like makes into a sauce. I don't.
Everyone
It was
needs
there.
a hobby, Thomas.
I guess so.
Space is boring.
People have done weirder.
So, okay, I'm trying to get the timeline right here. So they go out, but one of the scientists has also made a translator device for Mickey so he can talk to the mama, because the mama had previously saved Mickey when he was crashed outside. Okay, so they confirmed that they want the baby back and a human dead. He's like, it's only fair. And also
My
addresses.
baby back. Sorry.
Well, the mama addresses like Mickey. He's like, how do you know my name? He's like, secret. I'm like, what's the secret? We never know the secret. And then for some reason, the Church of Latter-day Saints stand-in dude decides to convince Mark Ruffalo to go outside to give a speech to this aliens before killing them all, because they invented a gas based on like neurological like experiments done to one of the Mickeys. Okay, I'm trying to get this here. Now, through a camera angle that Mickey 17 does that Nasha can see, because she's holding on to this like rope to not let the baby fall into the lava that they're holding hostage. It's a sexual position that they apparently made up on a drawing board, and like save the baby, or what was it?
Bring the baby.
Bring the
Bring
baby.
the baby.
Sure. So she gets that, and she saves the baby, because there's also an insurrection happening amongst the security forces, and because Mark Ruffalo is already out there on the ice, and Mickey 18 decides that he wants to kill Mark Ruffalo because he's got the detonators on his arm, and then 18 ambushes Mark Ruffalo. He pushes the detonator that satisfies the one death of the human, and then Nasha brings the baby out to the mama, and the day is saved, basically. I keep saying basically. So the wife of the president is taken into custody. She apparently unalives herself because she can't handle the trauma. They vote in Nasha as somebody like one of the representatives, and apparently she's also become president after this. They blow up the replicator because they don't want to have any more replicants because of the ethics of it all, I think. Timo finally finds that person, that loan shark person that was after him, kills him, and that's it. That's all of that. And then Mickey has a hallucination that the
I
wife
think
came back.
all of the ending was a hallucination.
Really?
Oh.
I thought
Like,
he was
because it cuts
remembering.
back to like the what do you call it, where she's like on the stage, and that was all like before the epilogue.
I guess I have no idea, but I'm trying to get the events right here. And then he pushes the button, it blows up, and then polka music starts playing. So,
John Candy walks out.
I wish that would
I
be
know,
so much
that'd be awesome.
better.
Polka.
Yeah, so that's Mickey's. That was the extremely brief plot synopsis of Mickey 17. I'm gonna hold my comments for a second because I need to process that. Who wants to go first? Anybody?
I'll go.
I don't know. Yeah,
No
I feel
one's
like-
no
I
one.
know Jonah was high. I saw Jonah's letterbox. I know he's higher than us. I don't know where Jared's at with it though.
I didn't dislike it as much as you guys. But I was telling Kobe like right after that, it is missing something. Like it never fully got me into the world. It always kept me like at arm's length. It never and a lot of the humor, like most all the humor was kind of like that Instagram like depressed kind of like death like kind of humor where like it was just like always about death. I feel like there was no like variety in it. So it never really got me into this world. I did like a lot of it. But like I think like you guys, my biggest complaint was just it had too much Mark Ruffalo in it. I feel like he should have just been like our interactions with him should have just been more on like the TV, like we see him on the TV and stuff like that. And like behind the scenes, not like like one of the main characters because it's just too much. And then we obviously know like who he's trying to be or represent in our world, so it's just a little too much with him. I did like Toni Collette in this. I thought she was a better bad guy. But this movie did make me feel for little bugs because they just got mistreated, and I was like, oh, that poor it just reminded me of my cat. I was like, oh, look at that little guy, he's just happy. But yeah, I liked Robert Pattinson in this. I think he did a good job in it. It's just I don't know. It just always kept me at arm's length. It never really brought me into the world. It's just missing something, and I don't really know what that something is. But yeah, I don't have really that much to say. I wasn't too down on it. I thought it was a pretty good movie. It's just it didn't all come together like I think it could have.
Fair enough. I'm pretty. I gave it 2.5, which is halfway on Letterbox. I don't think it's a bad movie. I think there are really bad parts in the movie, but there are also really good parts in the movie. Like basically the entire first third of it, I really enjoyed. I liked Mickey 17. I liked his narration. I liked learning the story about him, learning about the duplicate or the multiple, what the heck, whatever they call the duplicate things. Multiples. There you go. Same thing. I was so close. I like that kind of small story or the idea of it dealing with that kind of ethical nature of it. And I thought that's where we were going, but that's kind of set aside for the other stories that come in. There's the one, Hattie, no ma'am. Premature talking. There's the ecological indigenous taking over a planet storyline that they take on, which is, I feel like they play a lot into the kind of pulling the heartstrings. Like what the heck was the movie with the hippos that he did? Okja, yeah, like they try to play on like the emotions there, but I'm like, this kind of came out of nowhere. They saved in the beginning, and then talking about really quick, briefly about the translator, they have basically Hattie. No, good lord, they have the translator come in later on, but whenever he first gets saved by the creepers, which I'm like, why call them creepers? Everyone knows Minecraft. I'm just thinking the whole time. I'm like, stop it. Little green guys. Someone's gonna edit it and there's gonna be little green guys coming out of that rock. But anyway. But he goes up and he saves them. They go and he just mimics them back to them. And you're like, that was kind of weird. Why the heck did he do that? And literally that was the only thing. Like she comes up, the doctor who's making the translator is like, she looks at him and because he's making weird noises and she goes, and she's like, why are you doing that? He's like, I don't know, just mimic him. I don't know what it means. I was like, that had no connection whatsoever. It was just happenstance goofiness. So that bothered me a lot. But anyway, so we get the separate sidelines, and like the first part, like I said, that I liked the small story. I like the grittiness of the thing, the fun. They have a lot of like quirks with technology where half it works. He like is partially sliding out of the duplicate or whatever several times, which is amusing. But then they take it the other way to where I told them, I was like, I don't know where the Austin Powers stuff came in, because like you get to the villains and I get there making a joke. I'm like, why would you want to make a joke? I don't care about your feelings about the president, but why would you want that in your movie and like have that support? And I could see that being a lot of Ruffalo because he does not like the president, but I don't know. That just seems like, why would you want to focus your movie on that? Because the movie did take a huge weird turn. And I said afterwards, they kind of start the movie where they're like, oh, this guy's a doof, but we're going to use him to get up the planet, blah, blah, blah. And like halfway through the movie, they don't really hate the guy, in my opinion. Like the movie didn't put you in that sense of, we hate this guy. He's controlling, he's blah, 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 he's evil. And then they do the switch where it's like, oh, he's trying to kill all these things. We all hate him. We want to uprise and take over. We want more food, blah, 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 blah. It just kind of had a big switch without any real lead up to that. And then, but yeah, and then it just goes extraordinarily goofy. I didn't like his wife, whatever her name was from Hereditary, because that's literally her thing is she makes soups out of weird, or sauces out of weird flavors and stuff. And so
I felt she was more evil than Mark Ruffalo.
Yeah.
It was interesting, but it's like, why are we going, in my opinion, Austin Powers? We have these weird caricatures of ridiculousness, villains, where it's like I wouldn't be surprised if she was like 1 million sauces. Like that wouldn't throw me off in the slightest. It jumps so far from this small story about the moralities of the necessity of him putting himself in the situation to be reborn so many times and dying, and then the multiples. So it left the story that I wanted at that point, and then goes into the weird uprising of people who are unhappy with the political things, and then the weird indigenous thing with the elephant mammoth tusk things. So that was my biggest thing. My biggest thing is the movie just kind of didn't have an actual plot focus after that point, after like the 3/4 mark, where it hits a thing. And this is one of those turns where it's just like they build these emotional moments. It's like when 17 comes back down and he's talking to 18, he's like, yeah, they used weird fake meat on me and it poisoned me. And 18 because 18 is very, like Thomas put, edgelordy. He's an angry boy. He's the angry version that comes out of him of the multiple personalities that this Mickey has. And he like screams. And I agree with you guys. Pattinson did a great job. This scene needed editing. It went on a little too long and he's a little bombastic and ridiculous. And even like, you could tell he's just like, it was multiple takes where he's just doing weird things, making strange faces, but they put a lot of it in that it didn't need to be. But it's also like he's been quiet and composed. He's an angry boy. Sure. He tried to kill him and everything, but he hasn't like blown up yet. But we hit that point and he blows up out of nowhere. He's like, oh, I hate this man. This is now the plot. I'm taking this gun and I'm going to assassinate the leader or whatever. And then fast forward to whenever, they have the whole evil villain. And Thomas, you did not mention the churchy man. He has a lip stud that he plays with in the movie, and it very much disturbed me. He's like a Creed singer boy looking like he's like gonna go up to a metal band or something, but like dad metal band. Anyway, so they have their whole powwow in there, and then they toss back in more of the rebellion. Oh, you're an oppressive leader, and Nasha goes off. Like she's been kind of kick buddy, blah 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 blah, whatever. She's having fun, she's banging and doing drugs, and then she just has this like supposed to be inspirational stand-up motivational speech of you need to stop breaking it down, F you, blah 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 blah. Like for 3 minutes she's screaming, and I was like, I feel nothing here. Why do I care about any of you. You've been goofing off this whole time. You haven't built into this oppression thing. You're having fun. You're banging a dude whenever you want.
She
Doesn't seem
pulled a gun on a guy for like just talking to Mickey.
and I mean that didn't bother me. It's the fact of like there hasn't been any consequences to her actions. Like they say in the beginning, they try to make sexual intercourse illegal. They're like, we're going to take this away, but they're doing it through the whole movie. There's no consequences to their actions. There's no fear set in for you of like what these characters do matter, because it doesn't. They do whatever they want on the ship, even though there's supposed rules that they hate this man for. So they just shove a lot of that in. I feel like the movie's kind of an utter mess after the first quarter mark or first third mark, but I enjoyed that, and I wish it was just that. And then the end piece, I was confused because I thought, because he does go into after they blow up, they have a ridiculous scene where they go out and do this like charge on the creepers. It was ridiculous. But the two buttons, like how more Austin Powers can you get than 18 and 17? We had these buttons pre-made so we could blow you up. Anyway,
Each were a different color.
they were a different color. But then they have the whole combination thing, and then he's kind of reminiscing while Nasha's being set in, and they're getting ready to blow up the thing, and he has what I thought was a memory of going back to the duplicator machine thingy, whatever, and the lady's there, and I thought that she had made a duplicate of herself and stuffed her away. And then she had come because she's making basically another Mark Ruffalo duplicate as he's there. And then in his head, he's like, what did I do? I decided to take a note out of old 18's book, because spoilers, 18 was the one that blew himself up to kill Ruffalo. And then he smiles, and then in my mind, he presumably killed both of them. That's what I thought. I thought it was a memory, and then it's going back to a flash forward to where he's sitting there, and then the movie ends. So yeah, I don't know. Utter mess in my opinion. I enjoyed the bits I enjoyed, but it's a weird ride. That's for sure. Shut my door. Get Alex Scott here.
Jonah, go ahead.
Okay. That was a lot easier on the movie. It's not. You're right. It's not a perfect movie, like by any stretch. But I think a lot of people had a lot of high expectations because of Parasite being Bong Joon-ho's last film, and that's a fantastic film, and that's his more like serious, like this is important, and like this more fleshed out kind of film, and this is really just him having fun with like a sci-fi concept.
That was exactly what I was going to say. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I did have very high expectations going. This was like my most looked forward movie for a while. So
yeah,
yeah.
I don't think he was really like treating this like too seriously at all, at least with the writing. It's very goofy. It is a satire. I feel like it's like a very like 80s style like satire. It just goes so like beyond like goofy kind of, but it still has like a plot, enough of a plot thread, and like hard to like carry it through with the characters. Uh the biggest like fear going into it was that it would be too like kind of like Marvel humor, kind of like modern Marvel humor, like, and that it wouldn't be totally consistent. It's a lot more consistent than I thought it was going to be. It does. I think it handles the tone really well. Because Bong Joon-ho, like his films do flip flop between like comedy and like drama and horror and stuff like a lot, and he's still good at it with this film. And all the performances, like of course, like Robert Pattinson is fantastic in it. Like you always see him as two characters. You never see him as just like the same actor in the film. I think it's funny. I think he said like 17 was based on like Jim Carrey and 18 was based on Steve Buscemi or something. Like his performance with it. But yeah, I think I disagree. I think the plot that it didn't need was Timo with Steven Yeun, because I don't think that really went anywhere. At least after the first part of it. I think he could have easily been cut out of the film. I think it is a little too long. It could have been trimmed easily in a lot of places.
They tried to cut him out, but they were like, "No, he's my friend."
Yeah.
You're enabling him just like 17.
What's up with the saw? Why does it need two blades? Did they
Yeah,
just
that
want
was
like a
weird.
chunk?
Because it's the future.
I think the weakest part is the climax. I think it just wasn't as satisfying as I wanted it to be. 'Cause I think it was a little rushed, but I think it's fine and compared to like other climaxes we got like recently. I think it did like what it needed to do. But I did I don't think it was like the best handling of it, but I did like the weird like dream sequence at the end because it did catch me off guard. Like I didn't know where it was going. Like Michael, I thought it was a flashback, but it wasn't. It was just kind of in his like head, I guess, is what they explained it as. Um, but yeah, the cinematography also the ship looks like awesome. The planet as well. There's like a shot with like him in the middle, him in the like the mama like creature, and then just all the little ones. It looked really cool, like with all the snow falling and everything. There's some really good like camera work in this film. But yeah, I saw this as just like comedy first and everything else second. So and it did make me laugh a lot more than it didn't. I thought um it was a good comedy. So yeah, I really enjoyed the film personally.
You're last.
We done? Oh, I'm last. Yeah, so I hated this movie. Just straight up hated it.
Of course.
Um, uh, the fact that this had to be reshot too, apparently, would kind of like, I'm like, when did they reshoot this? Because they included an assassination scene on the Trump character, basically like mirroring what happened with uh, Pennsylvania. I was like, okay, that's taking it a little far, I think, in my opinion, because they had and they had his supporters with red hats. They had him being led by the church. They had yeah, they even had tiny hands. I was like, that's like from 3 years ago. Like, are we
They did?
really? Yeah. When he's making the speech to wherever they are on Earth, he's like, replicants are of the devil, and he goes like this, and his hands are like tiny. I'm just like, why did we do that? Like, that's such an odd thing. But it was just Trump. It was just more Trump and Trump and Trump and Trump. And I'm like, this is like Don't Look Up all over again. It dates the movie so hard.
Hey, nothing's that bad.
It's bad. It to me, this is the same style of satire. It's like it's just gonna date it so bad because like Parasite is going to be
Oh, yeah.
it's so self-isolated and it's will work on itself. It doesn't rely on parody, it doesn't rely on current politics. It's just by itself. This one was just all about Trump. And the fact that this was released right before the election, or not released, this was shot before the election, and he loses to a black woman at the end of the movie. I'm just like, okay, come on, man. Like, we can't be more obvious in this movie. And it was just, and the fact that everything was held in 4-year increments too. I'm just like, okay, are we really like just hammering this in? Because at this point, it's not subtle. Like, whatever subtlety is, it's gone. It's just not funny. Like, no, I laughed, I think, twice in this whole movie. Unlike our friend who was cracking up. Oh my God. And honestly, I'm just tired of Mark Ruffalo. Like, I really am tired of him. I can't do any Ruffalo. I'm done. No more.
I don't like goofy Ruffalo like this and Poor Things.
Yeah.
If it's like Bruce Banner, I'm fine with him. But when he tries to be like goofy, I'm just like, no.
Well, like in Spotlight, he's great in Spotlight. But this, I'm just like, dude, like, I get it. You hate the guy, but man, this is just too much. But yeah, it's kind of an insult of a movie, in my opinion. I'm just like, no, I'm good. Don't kind of feel like I just wasted my evening. Also, since we're doing theater experiences, Joseph, I had a very not traumatizing, but it was a very uncomfortable theater experience. So I got popcorn and a water. They didn't bring me my water. I ate all my popcorn. I asked for water. They brought me more popcorn. And like, I didn't get my water until like 20 minutes into the movie, or 20 minutes before the movie ended.
Just like, water.
And yeah, I was just, and the thing is, I ordered water 3 times and they did not bring it out to me. They just brought me more popcorn.
Did you write water bigger
Yes.
each time?
They just bring you a salt shaker.
But then they just brought me popcorn. I'm just like, I kind of like looked at Michael. He's just like, what? Didn't you order popcorn? I'm like, no.
Michael, aren't you fine? You have your popcorn.
They put up a ticket like 20 minutes before the movie ended. I was like, what could you possibly need more popcorn for?
The man couldn't breathe. He needed some
Yeah.
water.
I
That's
needed water.
awesome.
So maybe I'm not just salty about this movie, but literally salty. So
If it makes you
There you
feel
go.
better, they forgot my sweet and low.
Yeah.
wow.
Damn.
How
I would
rude.
disagree with Thomas. Parasite and Snowpiercer are very political. They're just not
Overtly
American.
political.
They're just
Yeah.
not
Mm.
American.
All those
political.
movies are.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I will say that I don't think I've really enjoyed, except for Memories of a Murder and Parasite. That's the only movies I like by him. I hate Snowpiercer. I don't like OK Jaw.
And I like Snowpiercer.
I
I
don't.
like Snowpiercer. It's fun.
I don't
They're on a
remember.
train.
I liked Oakjaw a lot, but I don't remember.
I haven't seen
Snowpiercer.
Snowpiercer.
I've never
It's-
seen Okja.
Hmm.
It's just because
Also-
the CG on that like hippo thing. I was like, eh.
Yeah. But also as like a science fiction for this movie, I thought it didn't make any sense. Like I was telling Michael, I'm like, so they have something that replicates like human beings with like a slight, they even back up your memories. So you're basically the same person over and over again. I mean, they do say that like after 17 copies, you kind of develop quirks, but they don't really say
There's
that.
like-
you kind of see it.
There's like that part where he like disconnects it like for a second and plugs it back in. Like,
while
he's
Trips on
retraining.
it.
Well,
Yeah.
the thing is that half of the stuff that's like going wrong with the ship is just incompetency. Like the doctors
Yeah.
were stupid, the security was stupid. I mean, everybody on the ship was an idiot. And I was like, well, if they have something that can replicate a human being basically perfectly, why don't they just back up everybody? Because you don't have to have the DNA sequence, apparently. It's just they just print another one out. I'm like, well, then who needs to be expendable? You could just keep living. So that didn't make any sense. The creepers, I didn't understand them. Like they're like it's secret, and we never learn how they knew Mickey's name. There's this weird part where they're like, I was bluffing about making your eyeballs explode
Yeah, it
or
was
something.
weird.
That also for some reason the creeper's voice was completely distorted. I was just like,
Yeah, I
What are
couldn't
they
hear
s-
anything you're
what are they
saying.
s-
It's like- I
what are
felt
they
like one
saying?
word.
yeah. It's like I guess bluffing isn't a human trait after all. So
Well, Mickey said that, not the.
No, I know,
thing. If
but
the actual
that's-
thing
that's the
said that, I'd be
thing.
like, what?
that's what I'm saying to them. Like, I don't why were they bluffing? They could kill everybody through like tearing through concrete. The scientist said that. The translator, that was weird because they're like, oh, we're picking up these like random blah, 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 and suddenly they can translate whole sentences. I'm just like, Mickey was just faking that. Like, what? so, so again, the sci-fi didn't make sense. The stupid with Timo, whatever. They sent a loan shark guy out into the universe to collect for this person. I'm just like, I think we're pushing, like, not that this is reality, but I'm like, that's just stupid. Like, what henchman's like, I'm gonna go like into the universe and collect. I'm never coming home again, but sure. And that wasn't just like an average henchman either. That dude was huge. So, and I'm sorry, but Steven Yen beat that guy. What?
I know.
Well, he is invincible.
Yeah, sure. I'm like, this guy was big as Battle Beast. I'm talking, this guy was huge. But yeah, it was a stupid movie. I wasn't impressed at all.
I
And
did want to
Go
add
ahead.
that it should have gone more into like they touch on like the ethics of like the multiples and like which is the original and which is the new.
that's what I thought was gonna be, because I know Bong Joon-ho's like, he doesn't like what do you call it? Industrial farming. So because I know that's what Okja was about. So I thought it was gonna be like this, like human cloning is like wrong. Like that would be more interesting, I think. But we just
could've-
went on like I don't like Trump. It's like what?
That could have been expanded a little more. I feel like there are a lot of sci-fi movies that do like go into that in depth though. So I don't know if it would have been too like
Well,
derivative of that.
Would you recommend Moon over this movie?
That's what I was
They
talking
Yes.
about.
Yes.
They kind
Moon
of the
is
same
great.
plot.
By
yeah.
God, yes.
If you can stomach Kevin Spacey, go watch Moon.
It's
didn't
just his
really-
voice. That's
Yeah.
it.
I didn't like Moon as much as everyone else, but it is good.
Never heard of
This and In the Air Tonight. The Boys on Thin Ice.
You've never heard of Moon?
it.
Really?
Yeah, I've
You
heard of
should
Beaver.
check it out.
Up there.
It's made of cheese.
It's really good. I have it. It's with Sam Rockwell. It's a good movie.
Very good movie. All right, so that's going to do it for this time. Tell us what you thought of Mickey 17. Like, subscribe, and notify yourself for even more good stuff, and we will see you next time. Bye.